Risk management and compliance. Principle 28. Market participants should have processes in place to independently review the effectiveness of and adherence to the risk management and compliance functions. Independent review should be performed regularly, with any review findings recorded and corrective action tracked. All material risk related to FX market activities should be covered using an appropriate assessment methodology. The review team should be given the necessary mandate and support, including adequate personnel with requisite experience or expertise. Findings should be reported to an appropriately senior level for review and follow-up. The above may be undertaken by the audit function where appropriate. 2. Key risk types. Market participants may be subject to different risks and to varying degrees depending on the size and complexity of their FX market activities and the nature of their engagement in the FX market. With this in mind, the principles below outline some of the good practices relevant to the key risk types applicable to FX activities. Credit counterparty risk. Principle 29. Market participants should have adequate processes to manage counterparty credit risk exposure, including where appropriate, through the use of appropriate netting and collateral arrangements, such as legally enforceable master netting agreements and credit support arrangements. The use of master netting agreements and credit support arrangements helps to strengthen the smooth functioning of the FX market. Other measures to manage counterparty credit risk include the accurate and timely assessment of a counterparty's creditworthiness prior to transaction, sufficient diversification of counterparty exposure where appropriate, the prompt setting and monitoring of counterparty exposure limits, and the acceptance of transactions only if they fall within approved limits. Credit limits should be set independently of the front office and should reflect the established risk appetite of the market participant. Market participants should maintain accurate records material to their counterparty relationships. This could include records of conversations and written correspondence, and retention policies should be aligned with applicable law. FX e-trading platforms that have multiple liquidity providers and consumers should at a minimum disclose the following as it relates to credit monitoring. What mechanisms and/or controls are in place to set, amend, and monitor all applicable credit limits? Whether and how the responsibility of monitoring credit limit breaches fall upon the platform or the users, and which parties are responsible for resolving credit limit breaches. What specific methodologies are used to calculate credit exposures? Market risk. Principle 30. Market participants should have processes to measure, monitor, report, and manage market risk in an accurate and timely way. Changes in FX prices or rates give rise to market risk, which could have an adverse effect on the financial condition of market participants. Market risk measurement should be based on generally accepted measurement techniques and concepts, including the use of stress testing. Such measurement techniques should be periodically and independently reviewed. The measurement of market risk should take into account hedging and diversification effects. Market participants should be aware of, monitor, and, where appropriate, mitigate the liquidity risk that could arise from their transactions in the FX market. Principle 31. Market participants should have independent processes in place to mark-to-market trading positions to measure the size of their profit and loss and the market risk arising from trading positions. In marking-to-market trading positions, quoted market prices, where available, are generally the best guide when obtaining external data for valuation purposes. Useful sources of data include screen services, brokers, and other third-party providers. A function independent of the front office should check that prices and mark-to-market valuations are measured accurately and regularly. There should be understanding of what the data represent, for example, if the price was the last actual trade, when the last trade was executed, and if prices were not actual trades, how these were calculated. Market participants should have an internal agreed close of business for each trading day against which end-of-day positions can be monitored and evaluated. Where reference market prices are not available, internal models, validated by an internal function that is independent from the front office, can be used to guide the appropriate pricing of risks. Operational risk. Principle 32. Market participants should have appropriate processes in place to identify and manage operational risks that may arise from human error, inadequate or failed systems or processes, or external events. Market participants should take into consideration operational risks arising from a global cross-border environment, such as time differences or differences in industry conventions. Operational risks could include those arising from human error, misconduct, systems issues, or unforeseen external circumstances. Market participants should put in place strict security measures to address the vulnerability of trading areas and infrastructure to possible operational disruptions, terrorism, or sabotage. Access to the dealing function should be controlled, with procedures in place that specify time constraints, security checks, and management approvals around access, where appropriate, for non-dealing personnel and external visitors. Principle 33. Market participants should have business continuity plans in place that are appropriate to the nature, scale, and complexity of their FX business, and that can be implemented quickly and effectively in the event of large-scale disasters, loss of access to significant trading platforms, settlement, or other critical services or other market disruptions. BCPs could comprise, but are not limited to, the following elements. Contingency plans that support business continuity across the FX business, including plans related to data storage and usage, and procedures in the event of the non-availability of FX fixes. Where relevant, the regular review, updating, and testing of contingency plans, including drills to familiarize senior management and relevant personnel with the arrangements under a contingent situation. This should include the regular review of potential scenarios that would require the activation of such plans. Disaster recovery plans that identify requisite systems and procedural backups. All critical automated processes as determined by the market participant should have a documented automated and/or manual contingency. The identification of external dependencies, including an understanding of the BCPs of settlement system operators and other infrastructure and critical service providers, as well as the appropriate inclusion of these plans or other backup processes into market participants' own BCPs. Emergency contact information for both internal and external dependencies. Communication tools should be secure. Non-primary location backup sites that can accommodate essential personnel, systems, and operations, and that are maintained and tested on a regular basis. Technology risk. Principle 34. Market participants should have in place processes to address potential adverse outcomes arising from the use of or reliance on technological systems. Market participants should have processes in place to assign clear ownership of every system on which they rely, and changes should be approved according to internal policies. Any system should be thoroughly tested before release into production use, with an audit trail of all actions taken saved and available for review. This should apply to the development, testing, deployment, and subsequent updates of trading systems and algorithms. Market participants should also be aware of broader risks that may exist and affect their FX market activity, such as risks related to cybersecurity. Market participants operating FX e-trading platforms should monitor the intraday health of the platform, for example, capacity utilization, and should conduct periodic capacity testing of critical systems to determine such systems' ability to process transactions in an accurate, timely, and robust manner. Market participants involved in electronic trading should put in place appropriate and proportionate controls to reduce the likelihood of and mitigate any consequences of generating or acting upon electronic quotations that may result in erroneous transactions or market disruption, such as off-market quotes or trades, fat finger errors, unintended or uncontrolled trading activity arising from technological failures, flaws in trading logic, and unexpected or extreme market conditions. Market participants should not knowingly generate or attempt to act upon quotations in a way that is beyond the technical capabilities of the recipient or inconsistent with advertised protocols. Excessive message rates that are known to approach or breach the limitations of the platform should be controlled, for instance via the application of throttling logic and/or circuit breakers. Any identified platform flaws or features that may risk its continued operation should be escalated appropriately. The inclusion of a third party into the electronic workflow between those participants generating and acting upon quotations does not remove either party's obligations. Market participants such as aggregators and multibank venues that may perform both the function of distributing and acting upon electronic quotations should abide by all relevant principles.